In his room, our protagonist, Cloud, wakes up after a sound sleep, and his mother calls him out for breakfast. He gets out of the bed and changes before heading downstairs, while recalling that it's been 3 years since he reincarnated. And in this world, he also has kind parents. He makes his way to the breakfast table, but when he struggles, his mother helps him out, saying he should be careful not to push himself too much. This is Emma, his mother, who he thinks of as kind as a goddess. The food she makes is truly delicious, and he could never miss out on a meal made by her. Once he was done eating, his father came and reminded him they promised to go out for a morning walk together today. Cloud is feeling blessed to be in this family, and here in this world, he is very loved by everyone, unlike his previous life. He also had a little sister and brother, Alan and Sally, and his mother took care of them while Cloud headed out with father, leaving mother safe at home. The town they live in is named Slory Town, and as they walk around the town, Cloud is greeted by villagers they came across, since he's a young lord of the Berg family, although he's not used to being treated like a noble yet, and he doesn't think he'll ever get used to seeing the red hands of the servants like this. When they arrive at the hilltop with a clear view over the village, Cloud's father asks him what he thinks of this territory entrusted to their family. Cloud replies there are so many possibilities for their village to develop, and father thinks so as well, but there's a big hurdle in that development, because of which no one will live in a land like this. This hurdle is none other than the monsters that live around the forest just near to their village, and they pose a big threat to people, and also make sounds and noises that reach the village at night. Over time, many skilled individuals tried to challenge these monsters, but they failed countless times in subjugating those creatures. So, it'd be lucky if their village is not attacked by them in near future. Cloud's father gets down on his knees, saying Cloud will be 5 years old soon, which might just be the end of their sufferings, and because when one turns 5 they receive a talent at the church. Cloud's father counts on him to be a man who will serve the town well, because after all he is the eldest son of the Byrne family. In his past life, Cloud was never used to being counted on so highly like that, and he wanted to live up to father's hopes for him. But the very next moment they heard alarms from the village, and the chief found it very odd, and soon enough, a town person came running to report the chief something bad happened. After taking a breath, he told the chief that Cerberus, the Hound of Hell, had attacked the town. Byrne is extremely worried to hear that and asks if there's no error in that report. The villager confirmed it's a report from the watchtower, and they aren't mistaken by the features of the Cerberus. Chief is shaking while standing, and he doesn't understand why Cerberus descended from mountains now of all times. And since everyone's safety comes first, he tells the town person to let the Cerberus eat all the meat in the town. This comes out as a shock, because the winter is almost here and they can't hunt food anymore due to lack of brigade. So if they don't have meat, they will starve this winter. But even so, Byrne is sure about this, because otherwise they will be the ones being eaten. He thinks they can always settle the bill later. And for now, he will go to town to handle things, while he asks Cloud to go home. Cloud feels frustrated, because only after turning 5 his talent will be revealed. If he could just get some talent for combat, he might be able to protect their territory. This helplessness frustrates him, and he eventually makes his way home. Mother asks what happened to father. He told her that a Cerberus appeared in town, and right then both of them heard a loud explosion from the town square. Cloud was left speechless, as he saw the flames engulfing the town, and he was worried if father could be in that burning area. Without any wait, he makes a run for the burning area, not wanting to just keep standing in a safe place while something could happen to father out there. Ever since he reincarnated, he wanted to be a worthy man everyone could rely on, and he could also prove to be useful to others. When he arrives in the area, all he sees is people, disturbed by all the chaos and trying to put out the fire. But they can't keep up with the destructive powers of the Cerberus. And at this rate, the whole town would go down today. Then Cloud heard his father, ordering everyone to head to the north and confirm their survival first, while the guards were to gather all the meat in town in one place. Cloud is glad that father's safe, and right then, he hears some guards shouting, "Cerberus is here." Cloud noticed a beast, covered by winds around it produced by just its roar. He wants to think of something to stop it, but the Cerberus just keeps moving around, until its view becomes clearer. And turns out, it looks like a cute puppy with an innocent face. Cloud can't believe his eyes. Are people really scared of something this cute, an innocent-looking beast with a pure white and fluffy fur? Because all he could feel from those innocent eyes was pure cuteness. But that was only until the dog started running towards him at an incredible speed, and Cloud could tell the power behind this speed was no joke. And it does make sense why everyone is running away from it. In that moment, Cloud's mother came running to protect him from this beast. While Cloud recalled this sight seemed familiar to the last sight he saw in his past life. Ever since he was a kid, no one expected anything from him, but for some reason, all the animals always took a liking to him. He eventually managed to land a dream job in the firm he admired. But unfortunately, one day a huge dog jumped on him, leading him to stumble and fall down before the truck kun, who was out to look for targets. That was how Cloud died. And he didn't think that Cerberus could be the same dog from his previous life. And before he knew it, his mother stood before him to protect him from Cerberus. He wanted to protect her no matter what. And in that hasty situation, his mind recalled a magic word that always works on dogs. So, he spoke out that magic word, sit. And Cerberus instantly sat down like a puppy who received a command from his master. At the sight of Cerberus sitting down with its shrunk size, everyone was puzzled. After which Cloud casually went and shook hands with it. He didn't expect it to be this easy, although the Cerberus still breathed fire upon sneezing mistakenly. After that, the Cerberus incident was over, and it seems the Cerberus was drawn to Cloud and came down from the mountains to meet him. And the more they spent time with Cerberus, the more they came to like him. Although Father was worried when he heard Cloud wanted to keep him. But in front of all the kids' requests with their cute eyes, Father couldn't exactly turn them down, and they ended up bringing Cerberus into their family. After that, Cloud forbade Ross, the name he gave to Cerberus, from breathing fire to destroy anything, and eventually Ross got used to life in the town. And soon after, 15 hamster monsters also joined the family, making their house and town more livelier. Since then, season passed by, and when the new year arrived, Cloud prepared himself for the revelation ceremony. He has finally turned 5 years old, and his mother makes sure her son looks all good before his big day. Alan and Sally also look up to their brother, but well, Cloud himself right now was pretty nervous of how things will turn out. In the church, many parents were entering with hopes for their child to receive a great gift from the goddess, and Cloud arrived as well along with Ross. This day will change his life in ways he could have never imagined, as his true worth will be revealed to the world. He knows that in this world, talent defines a man so much that it literally shapes their whole life from the age of mere 5. Upon Cloud's entry, the church guard stops him and says bringing a large pet into the church is a bit much, so Cloud simply asks Ross to become smaller, small enough to fit into his hands. The churchman was startled by it, and he can't say no now, since it looks completely harmless now. Inside the church, Cloud saw many people were already seated, which just adds more to his nervousness, because after all, his fate will be decided today. The priest glanced around and confirmed everyone seemed to have arrived within time, and announced the start of the ceremony. He explained a little bit about the revelation ceremony to the town's men, including the simple fact that he, the cleric, will use his ability as goddess's representative to reveal the talent of the children gathered today. Although, he let everyone know that even though some of them will have their dormant talents revealed, they should not forget that the probability of a person receiving a talent is merely 20%, while the rest 80% will have no talents or whatsoever, which is the bitter reality they must accept. The priest thinks it's indeed a bit cruel to decide one's path at the age of 5, but that's just the goddess's mercy, because he believes whatever she does is good for them. And even if the priest himself had not received his gift as cleric, he would have surely lived a whole different life, but still a life full of happiness. Only the goddess knows what lies in their future. And with that, he started making revelations in order, asking children to come forth one by one. Cloud gets what the priest was saying, and he knows it was kind of the same in the previous life as well, where ones with talent get whatever they wish to acquire. Although, he could not fully acquire what he wished for since he died pretty young. Mother remarks the priest is an interesting person, to let everyone know the worst-case scenario beforehand, and the moment the ceremony began, there were many kids who received no talents. The priest had to break the tough news to the poor kids, and just for today, he hates his talent because breaking the sad news to the kids breaks his heart. He wondered if only he hadn't been given this role, he might have lived happier, and soon enough there was a child with talent for wind magic. It's always the same. If a child received a talent, their parents will be happy and their kids won't wander aimlessly that way. But that's just one way to think about it, because according to him, receiving a talent just narrowed down their path. Some parents even sold all their belongings to have their child receive the revelation ceremony, yet they failed to receive any talent, which was just as saddening to witness for our priest. Next, he revealed a child's talent to be a restorer, and at this point, the priest is feeling kind of bored from this ceremony, because in his whole life he has never seen a top talent emerge from this church, since it's not the grand cathedral but a church of a not-so-big town. Although he wishes just once to witness a moment when he'll get to feel like being cleric was worth it. For the next kid, she was a girl named Eld, and she introduced herself as a commoner with no noble bloodline. The priest asked Eld to place her hand on the crystal, and upon her revelation, an enormous amount of mana emerged from her body, and the priest couldn't believe his eyes, as he saw an extremely rare talent in that kid. The priest revealed her talent was Sword Saint, and everyone, including Cloud's parents, were amazed to hear that. Judging by their reactions, Cloud could only make sense that someone with an amazing talent appeared, and right afterwards, Eld, the kid who just received the gift of Sword Saint, looked over Cloud's side, and immediately came running to him and announced, "It's nice to meet him." She introduced herself and claimed she's good at spotting strong people, so she would like to be accepted as an apprentice by the strongest one in this room according to her perception. Cloud can't process just what's happening before his eyes, and he asks her what makes her think he's strong. She replied that she had heard rumors about the incident in Slorytown, and she was impressed by his strength, so she wished to be his apprentice. Cloud felt nervous and a little bit shy, until Ross jumped down from his head and placed his paw on Eld's head, which delighted her as she finally got accepted as the disciple of a strong master, the Cerberus. She decided to report this to her village right away and left, while our boy, Cloud, was left hanging, because it turns out he wasn't even noticed by that girl while he got all that excited. Meanwhile, the priest was also pretty much satisfied with his life now, since he got to see the miracle of the Sword Saint emerging from here, and now only 2 kids are left. Next one was Tina von Barbarossa, and upon her name being called, she went to the altar. Cloud can't help but keep looking at her, and it seems she also noticed him and smiled his way, after which she proceeded to her revelation ceremony, whereas Cloud was left thinking how beautiful she was. His father noticed him and said he got good eyes to notice the daughter of the Marcus. Cloud denied it's not like that, but he was clearly flustered. Meanwhile, the priest asked Tina to place her hand on the crystal, and the moment she did that, enormous magic power emerged once again, and this time, she released more mana than even the Sword Saint did. The whole church was filled with her mana, which had a strange warmth to it, and the priest couldn't believe his eyes because this was a once-in-a-lifetime sight for any priest in the world. He was captivated by her talent, as he revealed her talent is Saint. Tina suddenly became the center of attention, as everyone erupted in cheers for the upbringing of the Saintess, and she promised to live up to everyone's expectations. As she went back to her seat, the priest looked at the statue of the goddess with tears in eyes, feeling like the goddess was really watching over him. Tina's father raised her in his arms out of joy, while the priest and others were delighted by witnessing not one but 2 great miracles on the same day. Cloud seemed glad by this situation, but that was only on the surface because, inside, he was feeling more pressured for his revelation that is left now. The priest was told there's still one more left, so he just called for the last child to come forward. Cloud was called so randomly that it didn't feel special at all, and soon enough his revelation was also done without much attention to him. However, the scene shifts to a later scene of Cloud leaving, in a carriage with his parents, and his father is all lost by witnessing so many surprises in one day. However, he was equally concerned about Cloud, because of the priest's ambiguous face when he saw Cloud's revelation, whereas the Marquis looked mad, as if his daughter's big day was ruined because of Cloud. He wondered what they should tell everyone in town now. Cloud apologized to Father for making things awkward for him. Father was feeling guilty for making Cloud feel pressured, and he assured him it's not his fault, and talent can be used in any way one wants. It's the job of parents to guide their children, although he's not sure what kind of talent is the trainer, which Cloud received. Cloud is also unaware of what it is, and he recalls the time when the priest revealed his talent to be a trainer. The priest was unsure what kind of talent that was. He had never heard of such a thing before. And moreover, the crystal also broke after Cloud's revelation. The priest thought the crystal was old anyway. And with this, he dismissed today's ceremony. Cloud was left standing, with no reactions or whatsoever by anyone, except for Marquis, who seems to be mad and just stands up to leave with his daughter. Tina, on the other hand, seemed like she chuckled while looking at our boy out of pity. Cloud can't take so much embarrassment, and seeing his brother and sister asked if he's all right. He told them he's been enduring this embarrassment for a while now, and he has also become a laughingstock, since nobody knows what this trainer is. They told bro it's all right, since he's cool. But it didn't help at all. Then Mother came and told him not to worry, because even if they don't know what a trainer is, they will overcome it together. Cloud told her not to talk about his profession as if it's some hurdle, and the more he thinks about it, he feels ashamed. However, Cloud does have an idea about what a trainer is, because even in his previous world, there were trainers for things like horses or a dog trainer, and it might also be related to why animals have been fond of him. But in the end, he didn't get what good was a talent like that. Just then he heard someone tell him not to be down, referring to him as master, and claiming he's here for him. But Cloud replied he didn't need anyone's pity, but then he noticed that the voice just called him master. He looked around, puzzled who said that. Then Ross spoke up, "It's him down here." And Cloud was astonished when he realized he could really hear Ross and even understand him. He can't believe his eyes and ears, so he asked Ross, since when did he learn speaking? Ross stated he has always been speaking, but it's only now that he has come to understand him. Cloud realized his talent allowed him to speak to animals, while his brother and sister became wary of him, as they think the brothers have finally gone mad from the embarrassment. Cloud, on the other hand, never expected a day like this to come, when he could speak to animals, which made him realize once again how crazy this other world is. Mother calls him out and repeats they will get through this together, leaving him even more ashamed. After that, Cloud's talent blossomed further, and he could eventually come to hear the words of hamsters in the house. He was finally able to tell them not to bring him offerings of bugs or mice, and they listened to him. And what was more amazing was the time when the flame wolves attacked the town. And surprisingly, Ross scared them so much that they started obeying him and even thought of him as their boss. Ross even bossed them around and had them leave souvenirs for him. The flame wolves offered their claws as sacrifices, which left Cloud with a lot of claws, although he didn't know their value. But he kind of felt sorry for the poor flame wolves, since they might have it rough without their claws for a while. However, he eventually became more used to his skill, and then later, something even more shocking happened. When the Sword Saint, Eld, finally arrived at the Slurry Town. She was escorted by his villagers, and slowly but surely she made her way to our protagonist's house. She introduced herself to Cloud and his family, claiming she had come to train under her master, which was supposedly Ross. Cloud still remembers the time when she became Ross's disciple, but he didn't expect her to be serious about it. Eld bowed down, declaring that she would definitely become useful to the town, so she requested Lord Byrne to let their family live in his territory. Cloud thought Father might be troubled by unexpected visitors, but reality was totally opposite as he didn't hesitate in accepting their stay here. Cloud was confused by Father's unusual behavior, while Father even wished to make Eld, the Sword Saint, his son if he could. Eld replied she got parents as well, which broke Byrne's heart, and he claimed he was just kidding, but Cloud could see he was definitely serious there. Afterwards, Cloud's brother and sister also welcomed the Sword Saint, followed by other townsmen cheering for the great occasion, while Cloud was feeling like this is bad, because at this rate, he will completely become a background character. Eld then requested Master Ross to train her, and Cloud was definitely ignored by everyone. He tried to make small talk and asked Eld if she remembers him from the revelation ceremony. Eld agreed she knows him, and also that he was granted the talent of a trainer. Cloud was moved to see she remembers him, and he added that with his talent, he also managed to get Flame Wolf's claws. Eld was impressed by that, and she wanted to be useful with her talent, just like him. However, for now, she was only able to use her katana, which was a family heirloom to do things like mowing grass. Cloud on the surface smiled, assuring that's a good start, while inside, he feels relieved to see they aren't that far different from each other yet. He then asked Eld out of curiosity if she could show him her skills in the grassland, and Eld agreed to do it without any problem. She stepped forward and held her sword in battle pose, all focused. Then, the moment she drew her blade, her hand moved at a rapid speed, and she unleashed a swing before Cloud could see it. Her slash cut the grass clean and leveled the whole grassland, which left our guy all amazed, realizing that her talent is clearly a far cry from his own, and she even looked really cool from the way she handled her katana. Eld claimed she could only do so much for now, but Cloud's father and his siblings there were totally sold by the talent of the Sword Saint, and they looked forward to her long stay here in the village. They treated Eld with happy cheers, which made Cloud feel a little left behind by everyone. And around that time, a carriage arrived, from which a butler came down and asked our boy if he's Cloudburn. The butler introduced himself as servant of the Barbarossa household and asked Cloud if he had a moment. After that, everyone sat down in the dining room to listen to what Butler had to say. And when Byrne asked him his purpose for coming here, Butler replied he got an urgent message from Marcus Carsa. Cloud remembers Marcus from the revelation ceremony, and so does his father. So his father immediately apologized to the butler to forgive his son, and he understands Cloud might have ruined Marquis's daughter's important day. So, if anyone is to be punished, Byrne wants to take on his son's punishment, even if he has to cut off one of his fingers right now. Butler was shocked by the sudden conclusion by Lord Byrne, and he assured him Marquis is not angry at all, but rather, he seemed to be thrilled by something. As proof, he brought a letter personally written by Marquis, conveying that he would like to invite Cloudburn to his house. Meanwhile, at the house Barbarossa, Tina was waiting in her room, curious if Cloud would come or not, to join her tea party. Whereas Cloud here doesn't think he has much of a choice, so he prepares to leave right at night, and Mother asks him to be careful on the way. Cloud assured Mother he'll be fine, after which he left on his way to Marcus' home to check out the purpose behind him being invited to this tea party. About half a day has passed since he started traveling, and Cloud recalls a rough sketch of the map and the path from his town to Marcus' territory. Cloud was prepared for the long trip, but not for this carriage because his butt hurts so much from the hard seats. He can't help but think, why is that butler unfazed by this seat? And it seems this world doesn't have even the basic concept of suspension or springs. Soon enough, he realized he'll be arriving soon, and the butler thought Cloud had a lot of knowledge about this area. He asked him if he had been here before. Cloud replied that's not the case. He just heard the horse's voice. Butler found it mysterious to think Cloud could hear animals' voices, and Cloud can't help it since he doesn't have a way to not hear them after all. And from his window, he could also see the city under Marcus right before him. The grand scale of the city left him amazed, because he hadn't seen anything other than his small town until now in this world. He thought he might be able to pawn off the flame wolf's claws here. And soon enough, he reached the Barbarossa Manor, which was 10 times larger than his own house, and it even had a private garden which looked so large that he could even fit the whole town of Slory within it. Butler escorted the young lord to the manor and let his master know they had arrived. Cloud was expecting Marquis to be the one to welcome them, but instead, it was Tina who welcomed Cloud to her tea party. She formally introduced herself to him, and Cloud was feeling all shy before a beauty, and introduced himself back to her, along with thanking her for inviting him here. Afterwards, he was greeted by the Marquis Karsa, who was sitting on the next seat, and he asked Cloud to sit beside him. He thanked Cloud for coming all the way here, and introduced himself properly as a token of respect. Cloud greeted him back, and he didn't expect Marquis to be part of this tea party as well. He hasn't felt this nervous since his last job interview, and when he was offered tea and snacks, he could only consume them without even feeling their taste out of anxiety. After that, Marquis asked Tina if she wanted to ask something from Cloud. She nodded and turned to Cloud, only to ask if she could touch him. Cloud went dumb as he asked her what in the world she was speaking. Tina asked if he's really going to make a lady say that, calling him dense for not understanding. But Cloud really doesn't understand it, and asks her to properly speak out what she wants to touch. Tina was all shy, not sure what to say, but Cloud can't understand what she herself isn't clear about. She decided to just touch it herself instead of asking, as she reached out her hand towards him, putting our boy in a predicament, until he realized the thing she wanted to touch all along was Ross. She can't help but want to touch the fluffy one herself, and Cloud realized that all this time, Tina wasn't eyeing him, but Ross, ever since the revelation ceremony. Cloud tells Ross to play with the young lady, and Tina is thankful for that, and also happy to know the fluffy one's name is Ross. She took Ross to show her room to him, while our boy was again left out as if he had no value at all. Marquis apologized to the poor boy for his daughter's rudeness, and Cloud didn't mind it at all and was glad to be of service to her. Marquis requested our boy to continue being a good friend with his daughter, and Cloud is just satisfied with being on good terms with Marquis. After that, Marquis mentions he's been wondering about something, and straight up questions our boy with suspicion about what does he have in his pocket. Cloud is startled by the suddenly serious atmosphere, and Marquis laughed it off, saying he can't help but be cautious as a count, since people tend to hide things from him time to time. He makes it clear he don't intend on accusing Cloud, but he wants to take a look at what he got in pockets. Cloud don't mind it and brings out the flame wolf's claws, and Marquis recognized right away what these were. He was impressed by these perfect specimens, and remakes it rare for something like this to appear on the market in this condition. He thinks the fact Cloud brought them all the way here means he must be planning to sell them, to which Cloud agrees. Marquis knows it'll sell for a really good price and demand, so he decided to just buy these from Cloud for 2 gold coins each. Cloud jumped at the ridiculously high price, which was way higher than he expected, and for instance, 3 gold coins is the average adult income back in his town. And here, Marquis was paying 8 gold coins for 4 of these claws. He didn't want to take money from Marquis to avoid getting on his bad side, but Marquis still insisted on buying them, because if these claws hit the market, it'll cause chaos and the prices will keep rising as they pass through merchants, and Marcus would have trouble buying them at that time. So, he makes sure Cloud understands the value of these. Cloud didn't really expect the price to go up that much, and besides, he got about 30 more of these claws back at home. Marquis is stunned at the news, and he can't contain his excitement and laughs it off, saying that's interesting. He is impressed, as Cloud not only got 30 more of these, he also understands calculations and market principles despite being just a 5-year-old. He figures that's as expected of the legendary talent of Trainer, which catches interest of our boy, and he inquires Marquis more about it. Marquis stated that since Trained is rare, almost no one knows about their talent, and also the legendary tale behind it. Cloud asks him more about that story, so Marquis starts telling him that a long time ago, this continent they live on was ruled by a giant dragon, and the strongest warriors from each country gathered to try defeating that dragon, but failed each time, and the dragon also burned down their lands to ashes as he pleased. At that moment, a man appeared and simply raised his hand, which was enough to stop the dragon's movements. After that, the man conversed with the dragon and even became friends with him. That man ended the long era of chaos, and the dragon swore that he will never burn the humans' lands ever again. And as proof of that, he even broke off his horns and plunged them into the earth. The place with those horns is none other than the town of Slory, and this story is the origin of that town. And lastly, that man who befriended the dragon was none other than the first head of the Burn family, Ixion Burn. Cloud had never heard of this tale before despite being from the Burn family, and Marquis thinks Cloud's father must have hesitated in telling this story since it was already too old. But he ensures this legend is real, and that's why Byrne family have been granted the qualification of an eternal noble. And regardless of the size of their house represents the history of the whole country itself. Now that's all the well-known part of the story, and the important part is what comes next. That the great hero Ixion Byrne was known to the world as a beast tamer, but that didn't really seem to be the case. As Barbarossa family's records state, that Ixion was the only one who shattered the crystal at talent revelation ceremony. He was one who was loved by all things, possessing a unique talent which was actually called as trainer. Since this all was a very old history, no one knows how powerful is the trainer talent anymore. That's why no one knows about Cloud's talent, and it's hidden for the same reason. But eventually, the world will realize the usefulness of Cloud's talent and might try to take advantage of him. And before that happens, Marquis exclaims they must act and keep him protected. And for the very same reason, Marquis asks Cloud if he'll marry his daughter Tina. Cloud was caught off guard by the sudden marriage talk, which flustered him, and he immediately shouted a no, saying he can't just decide that out of nowhere. Marquis asks if he isn't happy with his daughter. Cloud replies that's not the case, it's just he can't decide yet. Marquis figures that makes sense, since he's just 5 years old, in which case he decided to ask Cloud's father later, thinking there should be no reason for him to refuse. Cloud exclaims, his parents have nothing to do with this, it's just he thinks he and Tina should assess each other first. He claims he should have the right to choose, and so does Tina. And other than that, he doesn't even know if the Marquis is trustworthy yet. The firm grip of his hands as he confidently says it all makes Marquis more impressed by him, and he stands up, claiming it's interesting and he will make sure to prove his trustworthiness to Cloud. He swears not to spare any effort in achieving Cloud's trust from now on. For now, he asks his butler Alfred to show Cloud to his room, and also make sure his room is thoroughly clean and all without a single speck of dust. Marquis admits he's come to like this child even more. Later in his room, Cloud was lying down in bed, all tired, when he heard Lady Tina's voice, asking if she could have a word with him. Cloud lets her in, and she apologizes for forgetting to return Ross. She asks if they three can talk to each other until dinner time. Cloud didn't mind it, and they sat down together, talking about various things and getting to know each other, little by little. By dinner time, the butler came to let them know, but he found them sleeping as it seems both of them are tired after talking to each other. After that, he returned home and was thinking about whatever he heard from Marquis. Until one day, he talked about it to his father and mother, that apparently his talent, trainer, is actually a legendary skill that can command even a dragon with a single word. Byrne asked Cloud's mother, what's he talking about? She just thought their child is at the age to explore various things and is just curious about something now too. But Cloud here has received even more confidence in himself ever since he learned that, and he wants to see how far his talent can take him. He wants to try it out there, for which he asked his father to let him go to the forest near the village, but father straight up declines, saying Cloud is only 5 years old right now. Cloud keeps begging to father, saying he wants to get meat and help everyone else as well, so he want to hunt down the great beast. Byrne understands where's he coming from, but that is still too dangerous to let him go out on hunting. Cloud argued he'll be fine, because after all he got Ross with him. Byrne admits Ross is indeed stronger than any hunter around, and he can't deny that Cloud won't be safe with him. But then he noticed his gloves and decided to set a condition before Cloud could head out to the forest. He asked Cloud to follow him, after which he guided him to a dark basement. Cloud never knew there was such a large space underground, to which father replied it's a treasure vault for ancestral heirlooms, and it also serves as a shelter for townspeople. And among all the treasures, there's a special item with a story behind it. It was a pair of gloves, and Cloud had never seen anything like them before. Byrne mentioned Cloud must have already heard about Ixion from the Marcus, about the tale of him taming a dragon. He stated this piece of gloves is an evidence of it. This glove is made from the scales of that dragon, so they are so tough that no beast attack can penetrate it, and even Lord Ixion cherished it a lot. However, there's a catch, that these gloves are alive. While father was explaining, Cloud was checking out the gloves in his hands, whereas father mentioned that throughout generations, no one in their family has ever managed to master these gloves and had their hands crushed as a result. So, father puts the condition that if Cloud has the courage to wear them, he will grant him special permission to go on hunting. Father wanted to kind of scare off Cloud and stop him before he actually puts them on, but the very next moment he realized shockingly that Cloud had already worn those gloves. He immediately asks him to take them off, but it's too late, as the gloves start pulling Cloud away as if they are the one controlling him. Father asks Ross to help out Cloud, but Ross doesn't move at all, which means he believes Cloud could handle it. Cloud, on the other hand, orders the gloves to stop, and the gloves, with their own consciousness, think if this is Ixion or someone else. The gloves realize this guy also has the same talent as Ixion, and his nature feels the same, thus they accept Cloud as their new master. Cloud is thrilled to have mastered these gloves, and they got some super buffs like minimizing damage and increasing hand size as needed in various situations. Cloud's father is shocked by the miracle, and at this point, he had to admit that despite being Cloud's father, he might not have trusted him enough to have doubted him that much. He granted Cloud the permission to go on hunting. At the same time, Eld came forward and declared, if Master Ross and Lord Cloud are going hunting, she will join them as well. Byrne and Emma don't see a reason to object anymore, and Byrne wonders where did his son get that stubbornness from. After that, they prepare for the hunt before the night and pack all their stuff, and the very next morning, they are all set to head out to hunt the great beast. The townspeople were looking forward to the boar meat, which will come from the great beast since it's a boar-like monster. Although they don't wish for the young master to overdo it and prioritize safety first. They told him all the things he will need to be careful about the forest, after which they left for the forest through the elevator, which will drop them at the bottom point of the mountain with Monsters Forest. The forest further on is then divided into layers, and the first layer, which they were going to, is supposed to be for beginners. After they reach the first layer, Eld claimed it's her first time coming to the forest as well, and cautiously, they made their way into the forest, feeling their senses all heightened by possible dangers there. As they walked further in, the air was getting heavy and the fog here was thick. Eld explained it's actually demonic miasma, and soon enough Ross and Eld picked something up ahead and got on their guard, alerting Cloud that something's coming at them. It seemed to be a deer monster, and Eld told them it's a thunder deer with lightning in its horns. It's not that strong of a monster, but when they're in a pack, they could surround them with multiple waves of electricity. Ross asked Cloud to hide behind his belly, as it's getting more dangerous due to the group of thunder deers attacking them from different angles. Cloud thought about why his ability as trainer worked, and he wondered if he needed to give the beast commands like sit to make it work. But that doesn't explain why hamsters befriended him. So the only difference from then and now is that the monster's vision is blurred by the miasma. He realized if the monsters don't recognize him, his skill won't work on them, so he asked Eld to hide quickly. But Eld was confident that she could handle it with her sword. She focused her eyes on the little visible deer in front of her, while recalling the lesson taught by her master to discern the fleeting moment. She had to dodge Cerberus' tail attacks countless times during training, and Ross's tail was definitely faster than anyone. So, being used to that for over a month definitely heightened her senses. And now, this monster raid is no different than mowing the lawn. At the next incoming attack, she unsheathed her katana and unleashed an equally fast counterattack at the thunder deer. After dealing with it, more monsters appeared, but Cloud wasn't much worried since he got reliable allies here. Ross alerted them when the next one was coming, and this time, it's a bigger one. Finally, Cloud found the great beast, a wild boar-like monster whom they have come here to hunt, although it's a little bigger than what he imagined. Ross kept the boar at bay with fire magic and brought those two back to senses, reminding them to be careful from here on. Next, some rabbits were running from the back, and even though they looked cute, they were still dangerous monsters, so Eld started cutting them off one by one with her sword. But there were too many of them, which was quite odd, and Cloud started wondering why there were more monsters than he was told at the beginner area. Something is definitely not right here, and just then he realized while dealing with these monsters that they have come here because of him. As his trainer talent, he attracts the monsters needlessly in the demon forest. Moreover, since their vision is obstructed, they only show hostility towards them. Ross keeps the great beast away from them, while Cloud is trying to think of something to be useful, because no matter how strong Eld and Ross are, the monsters keep coming endlessly. He feels more pressured to do something about the situation, then he steps forward towards the boat and calls it out to charge at him. The great beast rushed at Cloud without any hesitation, and Ross and Eld can't make it in time to block it, so they ask Cloud to dodge it. But Cloud instead takes the attack head-on and grabs the boar with his dragon gloves. Eld was worried for him since from their view, Cloud was hit by the boar. Cloud, on the other hand, is all right, and he's glad that finally his eyes met the wild boar, and the wild boar also seemed to have recognized him. Now that he finally caught the beast, he asked Eld to quickly attack the boar now, but before she could do anything, the boar went down on its own and fell unconscious. Cloud wondered what just happened, since they haven't done anything yet. Only then he realized Ross was giving off an extreme killing intent, because it's unforgivable for his master to be attacked like that. Cloud can't believe it. Ross could knock out the wild boar with just a glare, whereas Ross apologized to Cloud for letting him take the charge like that. From now on, he'll stop being a good monster and bring out his real personality. Eld also realized how naive she was until now, and Lord Cloud had to risk his life to stop the wild boar himself. She realized that hunting is a fight for life, and to think she forgot something like that is truly embarrassing. She felt extremely guilty as well for letting Master Cloud have that moment, and she confessed Cloud taught her something important. From here on, Eld and Ross have gone berserk, going all out, so Master Cloud won't have to take the lead ever again. They fiercely took down the remaining monsters without any hint of mercy, and their true strength was clearly overwhelming for all the monsters gathered around this area. They kept charging forward, killing monsters, opening up the way, and the Cloud could definitely sense these guys are different now. Eld noticed a giant bird in the sky. Then she asked Master Ross to try that technique. Ross charged wind magic in his mouth and focused it on Eld to send her off flying in the air like a rocket. Once Eld managed to reach near the flying monster, she figured that normally she shouldn't be able to twist her body and land a strike in this situation. But back at the church, she learned from priests that the true nature of Sword Saint talent is something like a divine authority, that any sword she holds will draw itself to serve whatever purpose she got in mind for it. It doesn't matter if it's a short sword, long sword, heavy or light, she could make miracles come true just by drawing her blade. Eld striked the giant bird and cut it into 2 pieces like a knife cutting butter. After that, she was free falling towards the ground until she unleashed another attack just a few meters above the ground to cancel the fall and landed safely. This is the true skill of the Sword Saint, Eld, who has the power to command the whole direction of the battlefield with any blade in her hands. Now, she reported to Cloud that all the visible monsters are taken care of, so why should they do it now? Cloud replied it's time for them to go back home, since their hunt was successful. After that, they returned home the same way they came down, and later the adults helped them dismantle the monsters' corpses they brought. Eld remarked the butcher will definitely be super busy for some time now, and Cloud wondered if he was any help in this hunt. Eld and Ross knew he was indeed, and afterwards the townspeople welcomed them back, cheering them on for their first successful hunt. However, Chief Byrne almost lost his mind when he saw blood splattered over their clothes and asked if they were okay. Cloud told Father the hunt was a success, and he brought a little fur of the big boar as a proof of subjugation. He asked if he managed to uphold the Byrne family's honor a little, and after Byrne saw the fur, he replied to his son that honor is no big deal, because what's more important to him is that his son made it back safely. He believed results were the second happiest thing. First was safety of their people. Eld smiled to see the warmth of parents. Love. Then Mother Emma came and told the two they are dirty, so they should take a bath right away. Cloud and Eld decided to head to the bathhouse, and there, the three had a deep relaxing bath there. Cloud thanked Eld, saying the hunt was successful thanks to her, but she refused to take the credit since Cloud and Ross did more than her. However, Cloud thought he didn't really do anything there compared to Eld, who defeated a lot of monsters. Eld stood up exclaiming that's not the case, because just anyone won't be able to face off against the great beast directly like Master Cloud did, and he was really cool out there. Thus, she also wants to thank Cloud for showing him how warriors fight, and she doesn't want him to think he didn't do anything again. Cloud apologized for that. Then Eld told him that he's braver than anyone and loved by everyone, so he should be proud of himself more. And she also enjoyed their hunt, so the next time he goes hunting, she would love to accompany him again. Cloud was happy after being acknowledged by Eld, and he promised to invite her next time too. The next morning, Cloud was curious how the meat he hunted would be sold, so he went to check out the market along with his siblings, and there, the boar meat was on sale. Some elders praised Lord Cloud for managing to hunt down a big boar on his first hunt, and Cloud thanked him for the praise while he was enjoying the meat with his siblings. Soon, someone arrived in the Slory town in a carriage, claiming they came here after hearing about the rumors of the boar meat to buy it. The guy introduced himself as an official from the Waranai Trading Company, officially recognized by the Barbarossa territory. The guy with an English mustache claimed he used to be a regular peddler in the past, but ever since the boar meat business bloomed, he has been coming here just to buy it. The Clouds are getting an ominous feeling from the person standing behind the guy from Waranai Trading, and there are also more crowds in the sky and on roofs than usual. He wonders why that is, and while the crows are everywhere on the roofs, the Waranai Trading merchant checks the quantity of meat available, which is 45 masu, and decides to just buy it all for 5 gold coins. Cloud was puzzled, and he argued that it wasn't a pretty big discount from the original price, and at the same time Sally spoke up after calculating that the final price of the meat should be 8 gold coins. Cloud was amazed Sally could do good maths at just age of 3, but that's not important right now, and he argues that meat should be sold at 8 gold coins. He doesn't want to sell it for any less than that. The merchant, Kellen, tried to make the young master understand, but Cloud told him why isn't he complaining about the price, since it's way below the market price. Kellen said they should consider the costs the trading company must have gone through to come here, but Cloud knows that the market price is determined after taking all that into account. So, Kellen should complain about the unfair price. Kellen was definitely scared, and he told Master that he once used to complain about the same thing and refused to sell to them. But then suddenly, a giant bird came down from the sky and tore through the storage, then took all the meat and flew away. Cloud thought if that rumbling bird could be the work of Waranai Trading Company, But Kellen countered that since a rumbling bird isn't something that can be controlled by humans. But even so, Kellen still has trauma from that time, and ever since then, it's become an unspoken fact that one should trade with Warrenai Trading Company at whatever price they say. All of this was definitely suspicious to Cloud, and the more he looks at these guys, the more he wants to find out the truth. So, he decided to take this matter into his own hands and went over to the merchant from Warrenai and made it clear to him that they will sell the meat for only 8 gold coins. So if he's too poor to buy it, then he should go home. The merchant was pissed off, and he knows Cloud is from the Byrne family. Even so, he boasted about his trading company being recognized by Marcus, and to make light of them means the boy is also picking a fight with the Marcus family. He asks him if he's sure about that, to which Cloud simply replies that he's not selling anything to a poor merchant, so he should just go home. He finally said it, which shocked the merchant Kellen, while the siblings found their brother to be pretty cool. The merchant from Warunai claimed on the surface he will go home then, but leaves a comment that Byrne family seems to have fallen to have a rude air. As he leaves, he whispers something into the ears of the person behind him, and that girl smirks, as if she got the signal to go insane. Suddenly, the whole town was filled with noise, and Cloud wondered what's all this rumbling. Kellen was scared, since he had gone through this before, and the source of his fear, the rumbling bird, had returned once again. And it's clear, the rumbling bird is indeed controlled by the same girl in cloak, who was doing the rampage on orders of the Warrenai Trading Company. Now, the rumble bird was causing chaos in the whole town, and the merchant Kellen thinks they shouldn't have refused after all. Cloud, on the other hand, saw the bird approaching and destroying any house in the way, followed by the small crows who added up to the destruction. The town's people were running from the rampage, and Cloud ordered Ross to protect those guys. However, the rumble was a lot heavier than expected, and Ross thinks he might not be able to save everyone like this, since the damage was spread. Eld came just in time to help and unsheathed her blade to cut down the rest of the falling rumble. She asked Master Cloud if that bird's the legendary tremor bird, in which case she would love to cut it down herself. Cloud mentioned the tremor bird is being controlled, and he already has a suspect in mind for the culprit. He asked Eld to guard the people while he finds the culprit. She went away following the orders, while Cloud went over and told his siblings to go home right now since it's not safe here, and also tell father about what's happening here. However, Alan wanted to help out brother as well, and Cloud told him it's not a game, but Alan claims he knows that, and he wants to be useful to others as well. Cloud knows that feeling since he's been there, so after some consideration, he placed hand on their shoulder and told them to carefully listen to his instructions. He told Alan to find a person in black hood and let him know once he does, while Sally is to tell Dad about this situation. Now he wondered where that person in the black hood was. Then he noticed the carriage of Warrenai Trading Company was getting away. But before he could follow it, the tremor bird charged at him, and Ross came running to protect the master. But Cloud claimed he'll be fine, since he got these gloves. So with the help of gloves, he saved himself from taking any damage, and in midst of that, he heard a voice calling for help. Cloud realized it was the voice of the tremor bird, and the tremor bird told him that she was being attacked by those children of hers who can't stop until they carry out the task to carry the meat. Cloud feels like it's all happening in slow motion, and he realizes the ones being controlled are actually the smaller tremor birds, and the large one is just being attacked by them. In that case, he focused on one of the small birds and caught it with the help of his dragon gloves, without sustaining any damage, after which he asked the small one why it was chasing the tremor bird. The small bird replied they are being made to attack the Lord Nirok, which is the large tremor bird, and it seems the person is Black Hood was controlling them with her hand movements. Cloud learned that the person is indeed a beast tamer controlling these birds with hand signs, but he needs more information and needs to find that person quickly. So, he released the bird and fell down on a safe spot, which helped him avoid any fall damage. Afterwards, he tried finding the Warrenai carriage, but it wasn't visible anywhere, which means it must have escaped. But it seems the beast tamer should still be around, and if he's going to look for her, he needs to climb the watcher. But then he noticed Alan was already above the watchtower, surprising Cloud, then told him that he spotted the Black Hood person and she's in that direction. The roof Alan pointed at, the beast tamer was definitely there, and she also noticed that her location was found out, so she started running away to change location. Cloud wondered how she climbed up there, and in any case he needed to follow her. He asked Ross to help him, but Ross already seems to be busy protecting people from small birds. Then Eld told him it's fine, she will handle things here, so Master should go ahead. Ross quickly arrived right where Cloud was, asking what he should do. Cloud told him to carry him around on the roof, and Ross thought Master was asking him to go for a walk. Ross was all excited, and he carried the Master quickly to the roof. And once they arrived on top, Cloud didn't expect Ross would be so excited that he'd run faster than ever on the roof. Meanwhile, the beast tamer has hidden behind a roof, and she wonders if that white furball is the Hound of the Hell, Cerberus, which if true would cause a lot of trouble for her. She started running away since Ross could easily find her with his nose, and Cloud told Ross to catch that person. But then they got interrupted by some crows in the way, and Cloud shouted at the beast tamer not to think she could get away from him. The beast tamer could tell that the boy was around 6 years old, and she wondered if he's also a beast tamer. But even if that's the case, she doesn't think anyone could control Cerberus. So, she decided to use her crows to split up into 2 groups and escape. Cloud was startled when he saw the crows forming a giant hand, on which she sat on and was about to escape on, bidding farewell to Cloud. But Cloud simply told Ross to breathe out fire, and Ross burned down the crows which the beast tamer was sitting on. She was shocked by the unexpected attack, and fell down without having a backup plan. She was sure now after those flames, that beast is definitely Cerberus, and if she hadn't blocked in time, she would have turned into ashes. Right then she got called out by Alan, asking her what she's plotting now. She was caught off guard by Alan, and started wondering how this child got closer to her in an instant. And those pure eyes of his are devoid of any fear. She immediately tried running away from there and hid behind a wall in the alley, but Alan caught up to her, and asked casually if she's still planning on doing something bad. She realized one thing, that kids in this town are definitely weird. Earlier it was a kid with Cerberus, and now it's this kid's mysterious movements here. Around this time, Sally had brought parents to the market, and Byrne was shocked by the destructive sight before his eyes. But unlike him, Emma was fine, saying she believes in her children and they can handle themselves. Meanwhile, Cloud was trying to catch that beast tamer and told her to just give up. But then the beast tamer challenged Cloud to a duel, because she was interested in Cerberus. She never heard of anyone being able to tame Cerberus in history, and mentions if he wins, she will tell him everything she knows. But if he loses, she'll take the boar meat from him. Cloud doesn't really have a reason to trust her, but he doesn't think Ross will lose. So he accepted the duel, thinking he could get to know more about Ross in a battle. And he also wanted to confirm the difference between a beast tamer and a trainer in this duel. The duel between the two was decided, and the townspeople stood around them to witness the duel between their young lord, Cloud, a trainer, and the beast tamer who caused great chaos to their town. She was confident in her victory as she started off with summoning crows to gather together with her hand sign, while Cloud wasn't sure what she was doing. Soon, a fist formed in the sky, and she sent down the heavy fist our boy's way, knowing it should be enough for a boy like him. In front of the fast attack, Cloud was still trying to process what he should do. Then Ross jumped in front of him to shield him with his body. Cloud witnessed Ross taking a direct hit just to protect him, and the beast tamer laughed as she saw Cerberus flying away with just a punch. She directed the punch to the sky, sending Ross up in the middle air. She remarked that a beast tamer's strength isn't determined by strength of their beast, but their brains. Because when a ground beast is sent flying into the sky, it's helpless in front of multiple attacks from the sky monsters, as the tremor bird lands a critical hit to the flying Ross, making him splatter a lot of blood from his mouth. The beast tamer wondered how much the Cerberus could handle, since they are supposed to be quite sturdy. Eld sneaked up behind the beast tamer, telling her to leave her master alone. But the beast tamer reminded Eld not to interfere if she didn't want to disrespect the duel of her master. She should only watch in silence until it's over, as Ross lands on the ground, taking even more damage. Cloud is worried about Ross, but he assures him it's fine. He only has a few broken bones, and he asks Master if he could get serious. That way he will wipe off both that bird and the beast tamer in one attack. But Cloud can't let that happen, since he still has a few questions to ask Beast Tamer, and moreover, he wants to win this match with Ross. Ross smiles, feeling the genuine care of Master Cloud. Then, the Beast Tamer asks Cloud if he's trying to converse with a demon beast, which shouldn't be possible for a Beast Tamer. But Cloud simply ignores her, and forms a plan with Ross to take down that Beast Tamer without killing her. The Beast Tamer finds Cloud a creepy kid, as she prepares for the next attack. At this point, the townspeople are worried for the young lord, and Alan cheers for his brother to win this duel, just like their parents. Cloud warns Ross, if that attack lands on him, it'll be serious trouble for them. Whereas the Beast Tamer warns Cloud, on the other hand, that he shouldn't dream of befriending a beast, because every Beast Tamer who tried that never ended up well. She launched her next attack at them, and this time, Cloud and Ross focused on the attack, but then suddenly it split up to attack them from multiple sides. Beast Tamer believed everyone who uses beasts are the same. They will make their beast protect them. So, before the Cerberus could breathe fire, she plans on surrounding them and again taking it into the air to land the final blow. In her eyes, Beast Tamers grow stronger by working their beasts to death, and they waste the beasts' lives without a care no matter how many they crush. In the end, that's the kind of talent she thinks it is because, when she was little, she also tried to befriend her beasts. But since she had to control them with her hand signs, she once sneezed and lost control of her hand, which ended up killing the crow she loved. Now, she wants to see that boy doing the same, using his beast Cerberus as a shield. But to her surprise, Cloud has Cerberus hold him in front, while he prepares to take on the attack with his gloves. Beast Tamer was taken aback by the lack of common sense, and she can't tell if that child wants to die like that. At this rate, the boy will get caught in crossfire as well. And she didn't want to hurt him, so she decided to attack from behind. But Ross turned around, putting Cloud in front of attack again. She was annoyed by this and decided to just attack now, and Cloud was already prepared for it, and he blocked the attack with his dragon gloves. The crows were shattered from the recoil, and the Beast Tamer also faced some backlash, making her realize she's in trouble now. She never had her Black Fist attack collapse like that, and now Cloud told Ross to attack the Beast Tamer. In front of charging Cerberus, the Beast Tamer decided to go defensive and casted a hand shield made out of crows. But Cloud pierced through it with the help of his gloves once again, then jumped from Ross's head and leaped towards the Beast Tamer. He formed a fist in the mid-air, and the Beast Tamer realized she wouldn't be able to dodge it. Moreover, she realized now that a boy's talent is not the same as a tamer, but a trainer, which is only heard of in the legends. Cloud managed to land a direct hit to the Beast Tamer's face, sending her flying meters away from the boosted attack power of the gloves. While she was down on the ground, Cloud went over to her and declared his victory. And the Beast Tamer also admitted her defeat, although she pointed out to Cloud that he's actually touching her boob there. Cloud retreated away from her. Then the Beast Tamer stated she had barely used her right hand in this duel, and she still got more crows on the horde on the right. She had the Tremor Bird charge towards the watchtower, and Ross took Cloud over to a safe place right away. The watchtower was going to collapse from the damage, and while Cloud is safe thanks to Ross, Father pointed out something else they need to be worried about. The Beast Tamer was planning to use this confusion to escape and deal with the boar meat later. But then she noticed that the boy with mysterious movements from earlier was still stuck on the watchtower. Alan was barely holding his grip until the water tower collapsed and he was falling down along with it. Cloud and his parents were worried for Alan, as it seemed they wouldn't be able to save him in time, and eventually Alan fell down on the ground along with the rubble. Cloud was feeling extremely guilty for what happened to Alan, but after the dust settled down, they noticed a group of crows was covering the place where Alan was supposed to fall down. Cloud saw the Beast Tamer use her power to protect Alan from the fall, although she missed her chance to escape. Cloud and his parents were relieved to see Alan was safe, while the Beast Tamer knows she can't escape anymore. Cloud came to her, and she told him it's his victory, but then Cloud asked her why she helped Alan. She replied even a scumbag like her has a line of humanity she wouldn't cross, and even if Cloud hadn't protected the residents from Rubble F before, she would have had the crows deflect the rubble at the last moment, and above all else, she would never put children's lives in danger. Cloud then saw the Tremor Bird land behind him, and the Beast Tamer knows the Tremor Bird must be extremely pissed off with her. She knows her anger is justified, and the Tremor Bird can kill her, since she can't go back to her guild either after failing the mission and would be killed anyway. As the Tremor Bird was about to kill her, she bid farewell to our boy, and Cloud didn't have a good feeling about this. He asked the Tremor Bird to wait, and requested her not to kill this person here because he wants to ask her some things. The Tremor Bird stopped when he said that, although Cloud isn't sure how to deal with the anger of Tremor Bird because she must be pretty ticked off. But to his surprise, she listened to him since he's her benefactor, and this reaction was totally unexpected for our boy. Then the Tremor Bird mentioned she would like to join his team as well, as she loves his smell. Ross was creeped out by this weird bird fawning over his master, and he told the Tremor Bird to keep her hands off his master. He knows she had always been this creepy and perverted, and the Tremor Bird calls Cerberus a crazy dog as always. Cloud is surprised to learn these two know each other, and the Beast Tamer behind him also realized something else. She never thought one would be able to talk to a magical beast for real, as it's something only mentioned in the legends. And to see the real thing, which is the talent of a trainer, she can't help but admire our boy, since she learned about his talent inside a forbidden book once. His talent allows him to befriend magical beasts without killing them, overworking them, or being resented by them. That's the peak of Beast Tamer which all the tamers wish to obtain, a form which she once gave up on. She tells him he's her idol, and she wishes she had met him 10 years earlier. Now, she even owes her life to him, and thanks to him, she has made up her mind to bestow all her knowledge upon him. She introduced herself as Camilla, and to prove that she'll serve him loyally, she will first crush the old nest of Waranai Trading Company. She pointed in a direction, claiming to know their escape route, and they can't move immediately either. Camilla revealed the secrets of the Waranai Company to our boy. Meanwhile, in the further distance, the merchant of Waranai Trading Company asked his men, "What happened to the Beast Tamer?" The guy replied, "Camilla is talking to that boy from town, and it seems like she's spilling details about them and even revealed their location." He asked Waranai what they should do, but then out of nowhere, Waranai held the guy by collar and killed him, since that guy had clairvoyance and he might be able to read their boss's thoughts. He doesn't want any more mess and decides to make Camilla pay for the mess she made and also take care of that brat who ruined his plans while he's at it. Later, Cloud hesitated in arresting Camilla, but according to rules, his father had to do it for him, and Camilla also thought that was a perfectly reasonable decision. Moreover, she was excited to be riding on the legendary beast. Burns stated this rope he tied Camilla with is made of dragon hair, so it's impossible to untie it normally. He figures Cloud has the right to decide the fate of Camilla, and also makes sure to report this incident to Marcus. But Cloud wanted to wait a bit before reporting it to Marcus, because Warunai Trading Company was officially recognized by Marcus, so they should be a little wary of him. But Byrne doesn't see a point in doubting Marquis, and they also need to be compensated for all the damage which should fall under Marquis' responsibility. Cloud indeed intended on making Marquis take the responsibility, but he didn't want to just report the situation and leave the compensation planning to them. Byrne understands what Kud is saying, but they can't just leave the town as it is and need Marquis' help. Cloud actually intended to draw up a reconstruction plan first, but Father thinks they can do it after getting Marquis' support. But Cloud wanted them to handle it themselves first, because that way, they will be able to thoroughly examine the town and come up with enough budget they will need to not only handle the repairs, but also get more funds to develop their town. Byrne calmly placed hand on Cloud's shoulder to ask where they were going to get money to make a move themselves. Cloud replied that he could buy the boar meat for 8 gold coins from here and sell it elsewhere for a better price to make even more money. Byrne was shocked, and he asked just where did Cloud get that much money from. Cloud replied he got it from selling Flame Wolf's claws to Marquis when he went to his home earlier, and now they have to hurry up to sell the boar meat. And also, find a merchant outside Marquis' jurisdiction to sell this boar meat to. He asked Father if there are any merchant guilds nearby. Marquis replied that over that hill there's a town called Angles, and until recently, their main trading partner was the Pain Merchant Guild over there. They had such a close relationship where they both prospered. Cloud wanted to trade there in that case, but there's a problem. And Father mentioned that 5 years ago, an explosion occurred as if something awakened underground, and suddenly the entire trade route was uplifted. Since then, the merchants' wagons couldn't cross over, and those rocks there couldn't be leveled. So, despite being such a close town, they became distant, and since then they couldn't trade many specialities from the Angles town. He wished they could trade again, and Cloud thought about it all. Wheels wouldn't be good enough to carry heavy loads up steep slopes, and Ross can't carry much either. It might leave them with the only option to use the sky, but when he asked Tremor Bird if she could do a favor by carrying the merchant goods, she refused, saying she got her pride as a Tremor Bird, and the only promise she intends to keep is to let Camilla live. However, if Cloud were to take her in as his wife, she might do it. Cloud just gave up on this idea, and he come to realize that even a trainer doesn't have infinite obedience. He decided to ask the Tremor Bird about something else then, and at the same time, he noticed a hamster was carrying a heavy rock on its back. He saw hamsters helping out in cleaning the rubble, and it's his first time learning how hamsters could carry this much heavy stuff. He got an amazing idea and asked Father if he had anything big that he could carry. Byrne replied, "There's a wagon for ceremonial use," and later on he showed it to Cloud, explaining it's their festival wagon called a Makoshi. It's a replica of the moving temple created by Lord Ixion in the past, and no one knows the meaning of its shape anymore. But Cloud recognized this shape as a portable shrine from Japan, which made him even more curious about who Lord Ixion was. He requested Father to let him use this, and he didn't mind, but wanted to know what Cloud was planning to use it for. Cloud smiled, and after some time, he had 7 hamsters on each palanquin, carrying the wagon, Ross leading the way in the middle, and Eld will perform as escort. Although he doesn't get why even Alan and Sally are here now. Either way, Cloud formed his own Kids Merchant Association, carrying their first trade product, boar meat. Emma asked Cloud's father why did he give him permission so easily. Bin replied that when he was taking to Cloud, they were having adults' conversation before he knew it, which makes him want to rely on him even more to see how far he could go if he's not restrained by unnecessary worries of parents. He wanted to believe in Cloud as much as possible. Cloud had slowly made his way to the hill, and the path was actually getting more inclined the further they moved. Eld let him know when they reached the uphill section, and from closer, the place looked more like a cliff than a steep hill. Meanwhile, Alan asked Camilla if she's all right, or does she need to take a break for toilet purposes, or did she leak already? Camilla replied she didn't leak, and mercenaries like her often have to hide for days. So they have teleportation magic on their body, which automatically sends their waste directly into the ground. Sally comments that it's amazing, as Camilla doesn't have to wipe her butt anymore that way, while Alan wished to see it happen. Cloud told both of them to shut it. Now, they have almost arrived at the most steep part of the path, but the hamsters have started struggling, although they only need to make it through that way somehow, and they will finally arrive in the Angles town. However, even Ross complained at this point about the too steep pathway, and Alan and Sally feel like they will fall like that. Eld got down and decided to assist their climb, or progression, by tying the rope to a rock above, and she asked others to help her pull it. Cloud thought that's a brilliant idea, and he and others started pulling the rope, but they lacked a little more power to do it. Just then, Alan got an idea when he noticed some monsters nearby, and he asked them to assist him in pulling the rope. His talent shines brightly in situations like this, as the deers and even a bear monster came to help him in pulling the rope, and they finally managed to pull the carriage over the steep pathway successfully. Ross, hamsters, and everyone else made it happen together, and after they crossed the ridge, Cloud asked everyone to get on the carriage quickly since the rest path was downhill. He thanked the deers and bear for their crucial help and proceeded further on the way to Anglestown. Once they arrived in the Anglestown, they noticed it was a town of beastkin, and it's Cloud's first time seeing beastkin and elves in this world. He asked one of the elves where the pain trading company is located, and she pointed her finger in the direction of a rundown building. Cloud hesitantly went inside the building, only to see a bunny who was busy pretending to be busy. But when she saw Cloud, she thought of him as a kid separated from his mother. Or she asked if he's a fan of hers. Cloud replied that he's here to sell boar meat, and as proof, he showed a sample of frozen boar meat to the bunny. The bunny was surprised after confirming it's really boar meat. Then she called for her father, and a tired bear with a white and black beard came down asking, "What's the commotion about?" When he saw the boar meat, the bear recognized it at one glance, and he claimed it's been over 5 years since he got any meat from the slaughter town, and he liked how the quality of meat was preserved by freezing it with just the right temperature, because excessive freezing could have spoiled the taste. Bunny mentioned it seems like excess moisture was evaporated and then frozen to preserve this meat, and the bear could tell this meat was really valuable and its value would skyrocket if it entered the market in this condition. He asked our boy what kind of processing he did, but he kept his mouth quiet while thinking back when he asked the tremor bird to do him another favor, to freeze the boar meat by taking it so high in the sky that it'll freeze from lack of any heat. The tremor bird thought if no one could see her doing it, it'll preserve her dignity, so she didn't mind doing it for him. However, she was curious how the boy figured out she could do that in the middle of the battle. Cloud replied when she dived from above, her wings looked like they were sparkling and frozen, so he figured she must have been way high in the sky just before, and if she does him this favor, he will surely repay her. The tremor bird didn't see any reason to deny this request, and in return for doing this, she asked Cloud to call her by name, Roku from now on. Cloud was glad this sorted out with ease, and now in front of the bear, he claimed the preservation method was Slaughtertown's special technique, so he can't speak about it. It made the bear want to buy the meat even more, but he wanted to ask one thing from the boy. As he can see, the situation of his pain trading company is bad, so he wants to know what made the boy want to sell the meat to him, since he figures the boy must have had other options as well, instead of taking all the trouble to climb the steep slope. He wants an honest answer from Cloud, and Cloud could tell this bear was clearly sharp enough to tell lies apart, so he needs to come up with a satisfactory answer. He didn't want the bear to find out he had no other options, as it could lead to his meat being sold for cheap.